San Francisco and Berkeley are trying to pass the first taxes on sugary beverages here in the U.S. Both have measures on tomorrow's ballot, and most eyes will be on the city of Berkeley.
Mexico's government aims to levy so-called health taxes, including levies on fuels and soda pop, to combat obesity.
Sugar-sweetened beverage taxes, or soda taxes, have been hot topics in recent years. But despite what you may have heard on the news, this isn't the first time lawmakers at home and abroad have come up with the idea of a tax on beverages as a way to raise revenue. In 1914, following a decline in import tariffs, President Woodrow Wilson proposed a special excise tax on soft drinks. Two U.S. states with some of the highest obesity rates, West Virginia and Arkansas, both have some form of soda tax in place. And Denmark has had a soda tax on its books since the 1930s, though the country recently repealed it. Numerous cities and states in the U.S. have rejected a beverage tax. But just last November in Berkeley, California, voters approved Measure D, penny per ounce tax on sugar-sweetened beverages. 4 months after Berkeley voters approved the tax measure, we checked in with Mayor Tom Bates to see how the new tax was performing and how Berkeley residents and businesses were reacting to it.
We know that the soda is a terrible thing, and it's what causes all these problems, and we want to do everything we can to prevent it from, people digesting it.
Do you think the business owners understand it, or do you have to provide a little more clarity?
Oh, sure they understand. Some people say they don't understand, but certainly they understand.
Yeah, I don't understand it. It's really confusing, and it's really aggravating, actually.
Some of the aggravation could stem from the fact that while a penny per ounce doesn't sound like much, it can add up to a price increase of almost 100% for a 2-liter bottle of soda. And to be clear, this is not just a tax on soda. Hundreds of beverages are impacted by this tax. But rather than tax consumers directly for their soda purchases, the measure taxes distributors, the people who deliver products to stores located in Berkeley. That means there is no mechanism in place to ensure that the end consumer actually pays more for drinks containing sugar. Ultimately, how the tax is applied and on what products is left to the discretion of the shop owner.
Something that lawmakers may or may not have thought about when they adopted a soda tax is the shop owner, the person who has to go and decide, is this item taxed, is that item taxed? Who has to change their prices, who has to, put in extra hours to do that. And all these, costs are passed on to the shop owner and then presumably to consumers.
Have a good day, man. So sometimes we take a loss, we'd be like, okay, you know what, we're getting charged for it. I don't want to pass it to the consumer, because if I pass it to the consumer, then I'll really lose customers, and I'm a small business.
And next. It's been hard to implement because basically we have about 12 to 15 doors of soda and drinks, and some things do have sugar in it. I have to look at the nutritional facts for every drink that comes here other than water. They have 100% juices like apple and orange, but they also have blends, and the blends are not 100% juice.
This is a cream soda, so I think this one has a sugar on it. Yes, it does have a sugar, but we don't know if it's going to be taxed or not taxed because this is not big companies, it's a local. So we don't know how they're going to charge on this one.
So a keg of root beer goes for $80 plus a $40 deposit and an additional $20 Berkeley city tax. So it's, it's pretty pricey for root beer.
It's really affecting our business, actually. You could just walk a couple of blocks or a block, to Oakland, and, you'll buy the same soda for just lower price.
I think that sugar-sweetened beverage taxes, soda taxes, whatever you want to call them, don't work for a couple of reasons economically. One is that they discriminate against people who are more likely to buy soda, and those people are people who are low-income consumers. To have less money in their pockets is not helpful. If you want people to buy more fresh fruit and vegetables, then obviously it's less good if they have less money in their pockets, and simply taking their money and giving it to the government is not helping them become healthier.
I don't think that's going to help because people drink soda, they're going to drink soda, no matter what.
It won't make them stop. It's just making people pretty pissed.
It's not going to help anything. We're still going to buy sodas. It's only making it harder for us who are low income.
I think it's bad for the community, for the people, and the store owners.
It may be too soon to tell if the beverage tax in Berkeley will deliver on its promises, but across the border in Mexico, a similar beverage tax has been in effect for more than a year. Mexico's version of the tax, part of President Enrique Peña Nieto's 2014 budget package, is similar to Berkeley's in many regards, but Mexico's tax objectives go beyond just obesity reduction. Elected officials here promised that tax revenue would also benefit clean drinking water initiatives in public schools across the country. So is the tax in Mexico living up to the hype? Enacted in 2014, this tax increases the price of sugar-sweetened products by about 15%. Data from Nielsen and Kantar shows that since implementation, the sale of sodas and other sugar-sweetened beverages is down by a little over 2%. But in that same time, the sale of health and beauty products also went down by 2%. This suggests that when confronted with a tax hike on sodas, consumers chose to buy the drink anyway and made up for the higher tax by reducing spending in other areas.
We evaluated around 70 categories of products with a metric that has been used in Mexico over the last 10 years. From this, we could see how people's buying habits have changed. Where, who, and for whom are they buying? So in this case, what we found was that Mexican households had to take money from elsewhere to finance their soft drink consumption. Because of the economic situation in this country, people didn't have any more disposable income in 2014 than they did in 2013. So they had to take money out of the basket from housing and personal care to afford this category. That's why we proposed this question. Is the average Mexican individual getting thinner in this context? And the truth is, he is poorer. His economy was gravely affected by this tax.
Though Peña Nieto promised the tax would only target soft drinks and other sugar-sweetened beverages, new data suggests its effect has been much broader than he or anyone else predicted.
Soda is the draw for these stores. It's the hook. But nobody goes to a little store simply to buy soda and nothing else. Instead, they buy soda, bread, milk, and they buy many other things. When people stop frequenting stores as much, it affects general sales. This has made an important impact on stores to the point of making many retail locations unaffordable. In fact, many merchants have had to shut down and leave this work entirely.
Following the implementation of the 2014 tax package, more than 25,000 neighborhood stores were forced to shut their doors. Most of these stores relied heavily on beverage sales and were located in Mexico's southern states or near the Guatemala border, where poverty and crime is already rampant. Based on the available data, it seems clear Mexico's soda tax has been damaging economically. But could these economic losses be outweighed one day by noticeable health gains?
If the purpose is to prevent and fight obesity, this is not an adequate way, in my opinion. Because people need information to realistically change their habits and better their lifestyles.
Para poder realmente cambiar sus hábitos y mejorar sus estilos de vida. Hay un cálculo promedio.
There's a calculated average that shows Mexican consumers take in around 3,160 calories per day. It is not clear which food groups are involved.
No se sabe claramente de qué grupos de alimentos. No hay educación nutricional.
With no nutritional education, with all this food to offer on the streets, in every location, in every garage, at every corner, it has to be more than just a tax.
Entonces, bueno, va mucho más allá que un impuesto.
The tax on sweetened drinks is not making Mexico any healthier. Government is only after a piece of the profits because they know Mexican families are going to buy these drinks. If you impose this tax on them to reduce the family's weight problems, then our income is not enough to purchase better, more nutritious foods.
This tax is pure nonsense, since obesity will never be over.
I don't know what the government is doing with the tax or where it's going.
Can the president or the politicians or the Congress or anyone tell me, where is the money from these taxes? Where did it go?
They're ghost taxes, because I have seen no improvements from these taxes.
Where are the drinking fountains for my grandchildren?
It's not clear where that money ends up. Not to me, anyway.
If I was the secretary, I would ask myself, why remove a tax that has provided me 32 billion pesos in 1 year? Nothing happened with consumption. So they may even dare to increase it.
The economic consequences of soda taxes are real and immediate, while the benefits from these taxes are never as easy to spot.
I think that the intentions behind soda taxes may, in some cases, be good, but I think that if activists who supported these, legislators who supported these, really understood how difficult it is to actually implement these laws and the negative consequences, unintended consequences of the laws, then maybe they would think twice and find a policy that actually works and doesn't burden small businesses.
They knew it was coming, but that doesn't make the Measure D soda tax any easier to swallow.
When people are thirsty, they gotta spend more money on it.
And there's a lot of confusion about who's supposed to pay the new 1 cent per ounce tax and on what.
Wait, so you had to pay a soda tax on tea too?
Yes, ma'am, yeah.
Well, the cost of all sodas have increased to nearly $3 at some Berkeley retailers. Others haven't changed a thing. And at least one popular restaurant added an itemized 22-cent Measure D tax to the bill for every fountain drink, sugar sweetened or not.